industry in Kemin. I was recounting with KP Phillip, who really helped found our business here. When we began our business in India, we estimated the Indian feed market at that time probably was about 5 million tons, and a relatively small market, especially when you looked at it in the case of what worldwide feed production was at that point in, say, 1999. When we built the facility, we said that the facility should be able to handle a feed industry of 10 million tons. And a few years later, the industry, certainly enough, had gotten to 10 million tons, and so we expanded. And we felt that that would be able to last us until the industry was at 20 million tons. And certainly enough, as we know today, the industry has again grown and substantially past that, now that to 35 million tons estimated feed manufactured within the country. We feel that what we have built today is now sufficient to be able to take on a market of 100 million tons. And I am very confident that the Indian feed industry is going to see 100 million tons, certainly before the end of the 20s. And for that reason, we'll be looking at another expansion, I think, certainly before the end of the 20s here in Chennai. So with that, would anybody else like to have any opening comments?
I think we're good to start.
Good to start with questions. Okay.
China or India?
I'm sorry?
You said, is it in China or in India?
India. Chennai. Yeah, expansion here in Chennai. right. No, you know, China today remains, and many people feel actually that the Chinese market is going to shrink this year from 185 million tons. Probably, we've heard estimates as much as shrinking by 20 million tons this year because of the African swine fever. So I think in this particular year, in 2019, we're going to see a downsizing of the Chinese market. I see, for instance, that the Indian feed market will continue to grow. That said, we remain very optimistic in China as well. You will see a very large press release in this coming summer. We're opening a 100,000 square foot research and development center in China specifically, and this is really to be able to support our Chinese business across all of our various businesses, whether that is agriculture, textiles, pet food, or human food, or nutraceuticals. All of those areas are being supported. The turnover.
Sales
turnover.
Sales is
India division is
400 crores is the turnover for Chennai. 400 crores.
I was just going to say, I was going to turn to Suresh.
With this expansion, what will be the total capacity of Kemin in India?
So currently, we are doing close to 35 million metric ton. The current facility is okay. With the expansion, we'll be able to do 3 times capacity. We'll be able to cover it. So close to till 100 million metric ton. We'll be able to serve 100 million metric ton of feed. We'll be able to serve. Okay.
Serve 100 million tons. So it depends on sort of which products that we're looking at, but generally that our products have an inclusion rate of somewhere between 1 and 3 kilos per ton.
And we are also adding some additional facilities, the fermentation facility which is going to come in the existing, in the new plant. Also the new coating technology, especially for the coated urea product, is going to come for the ruminant market. So with that, we'll be able to cover almost close to 100 million metric ton.
I'd like to emphasize that a little more, is that oftentimes international companies have been seen bringing technology into India, into the Indian feed business, and then utilizing it within the Indian feed business. We've been very fortunate here to have a very active research and development team. And the integrated mineral synthesis unit that you saw today is completely a discovery made here in India. And in fact, this will be a case where we at least foresee that this is technology invented in India for India, but we're going to take that technology worldwide. and to be able to utilize that on a worldwide basis. And so we now see India as being one of the locations from our research and development standpoint that's actually generating new technology that's going to be affecting the world feed industry. Rather than bringing technology here, we see India exporting technology that is and really demonstrates the viability of research and development here in the country.
Is that the kind of enthusiasm you have that India may have the 100 million tons by the end of 20?
I think, yeah, the enthusiasm I have for the 100 million tons really comes from protein consumption, per capita protein consumption, and seeing what really has to happen within the country. We know that we still have a situation in India where we have people that are not receiving the amount of protein, even on a basic nutritional level that they have. The numbers of stunted children within the country are still way too high. And much of this, at least in my opinion, can be solved through further protein nutrition, especially starting in the layer industry and in the dairy industry.
So if I can add,
So
Chris.
what does share Kemin have in world market today?
I'm sorry?
What's the share of the Kemin market in
What is Kemin's market share?
Market share. Go ahead.
So
Ramesh.
again, it depends on which segment we are talking about. If you look at market share, it depends on segment. If you take the animal nutrition and health, if I look at our top 5 categories that we focus on, the share can range from anywhere between 8 to 10% to a high of 25 to 26%. Again, it depends on geography to geography. If I look at our pet food business where antioxidants and palatants, natural antioxidants, we are market leaders, upward of 90% market share. If I look at combination of antioxidants for pet food, it's in the high 70, 72%. Again, if you look at the food technology, we have natural antioxidants as well as synthetic antioxidants for the flatbread industry, as well as for, let's say, preservatives for the flatbread industry. Again, in natural antioxidants, a very large market share. And each of these categories that we look at, product categories or platform categories we look at, we are backward integrated quite significantly, particularly in the plant area. So if you look at the last 5 to 6 years, the way our programs have moved, I would say about 6 to 7 years ago, 15% of our revenues were generated from plant-based products. Today, close to 40% is being generated from plant-based products. So our focus has been sustainable growth. How do we bring programs to the market which are sustainable and also add value to our customers? So our plant-based programs are all backward integrated completely. If you look at India, we have very high market share in all the 5 to 7 categories that we focus today. Very high, 25 to 50% market share. So again, depends on the market. I can't use one number globally because the market segmentation is very different. Yeah.
What's the market size in India
In terms of?
in terms of animal feed?
So animal feed, I think when we look at India, we look at South Asia totally, which includes Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka and India. It's about 35 to 36 million ton. Would that be right, Suresh? Yeah. Which includes dairy feed, aqua feed and everything. Yeah.
So you are going to export from this facility?
Yes, to South Asian countries, yes. Currently, even now we are doing exports.
So the exports are two. One is to the nearby geography. One is to, for example, beyond South Asia. If you look at food technology business, we used to manufacture in Singapore and supply Asia Pacific market. Now we have moved that manufacturing to the facility in Gumdipundi. So the Gumdipundi facility will supply food ingredients for the food technology business across Asia Pacific and China as well. Okay. The integrated mineral manufacturing initially will supply other business units that need it. Once we build up critical volumes in another geography, we might set up a manufacturing there.
Who are your main competitors?
Again, depending on in animal, again, depending on the category you talk, the competitor is different. If I look at intestinal health, where we are focused on finding alternatives for antibiotics, you would have the Pfizers of the world or Zoetis of the world, the Lancos of the world as competitors. If you look at nutritional ingredients, Alltech, Biomin, Novus would be competitors. Okay, just to give you an example.
market position globally in the animal nutrition business?
When you say market position, can you elaborate a little bit? Because we just talked about market share a short while ago.
Yeah.
So if you're again referring to market share, you already have my answer.
Yeah.
But if you can elaborate, if it is a different question, I need to understand before I can answer.
Like, you have, like, healthcare products and then the nutritional products, under nutritional products, what is the position of Kemin, if you see it, internal globally?
So our in the animal nutrition segment, our primary focus is safety, health, and nutrition. This is the platforms under which we operate. Now, when you look at safety, our intestinal health products can come under safety. Feed safety could be one where salmonella control can be a major focus area. If you look at health, again, intestinal health products will come in where replacement of antibiotics, providing solutions for customers to manage antibiotic transition, and other disease management issues. If you look at nutrition, it's better utilization of nutrition. And we have a series of programs that come in. Mineral nutrition is one, biosurfactant is the other one. Those are the various categories.
I'm not talking about the drugs, it's feed supplements and nutrition products.
Yes.
In that segment, what is Kemin's position globally?
I'm not understanding your question probably. I'm not.
So I can say that within the Kemin business, the agricultural or animal feed area remains about 50% of our total business. The other areas then come down, probably pet food next, and human food ingredients, very close to our nutraceutical ingredients. Textile auxiliaries probably is our smallest business today. Is that what you're asking?
What is your marketing sector basically? How you customers know it is through C&F or directly from the?
Sir, in South Asia, it's like I would say 55% direct to customers and 45% through C&F and distribution.
Yeah.
Producing only animal food ingredients in this factory or even human food?
No, this factory has human food ingredients. I don't know if you remember where we were when we were looking at the packaging of the mineral products. If you've gone to the right, clear to the right of that, there's an entire section that is a different section that is designed for human food ingredients.
And the facility has one of the highest certifications as well, FSSC 22,000.
As well as halal and kosher.
Yeah.
So it's within the unit, but a totally separate area.
So overall, where do you see Kemin after 5 years?
Well, that's a whole variety of areas. Again, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to grow significantly each year, and we continue to see growth as one of our core overall focuses. In 5 more years, it's almost within each of our various segments. I can see the growth will continue, and our capital expenditures to support the business will continue to grow. Kemin continues to reinvest nearly 7% of sales back into research and development on a yearly basis. We've got a number of new products that are in the pipeline. New products in our business are taking anywhere from 2 to 5 years to mature and come about, and I foresee that will be an active area that you'll see continue to see new products coming from our research laboratories. So I think continue to look for a series of announcements, both on capital expenditures as well as new products to offer into all of our various industries.
In the recent years, we found that Kemin is in India. Kemin is taking part every year for the promotion of egg consumption in the country.
Yes.
Which is a good thing. You are doing it. Apart from that, do you have any plans to help the farmers to get better for the promotion of both chicken and egg consumption?
There's no question that certainly egg production as well as broiler consumption continues to be a real area of focus for us. In my mind, as I see it, each of our products, we make an implicit promise to the farmers with our products, and that is if you invest 1 rupee on a product from Kemin, we guarantee a return of 2 rupees. And in many cases, that 1 rupee investment can yield 5 to 7 rupees. And so with that sort of investment, we believe that the continued growth of our products allows the farming industry to continue to grow on a wide-scale basis, making protein more affordable for anybody who wishes to be able to purchase it. And I think that remains one of our areas. When we see particular opportunities like Egg Day that is celebrated here in India, we're going to be highly supportive of those because we do see that the promotion of these almost perfect protein, animal proteins, is one of the best ways to guarantee adequate nutrition for the population. Maybe Suresh has some comments.
Yes, Chris. In fact, one thing is we are participating like promotion of through the Egg Day and others. And apart from that, we are also to produce a quality protein. We actively participate with our customers, especially in importing knowledge and exchange of knowledge from the customers through various programs like we have a lot of training and audit programs which we continues to do with our customers, and in turn they can produce a quality food to the consumers. So that is somewhere Kemin is actively participating, specifically through our customer laboratory service as well as the technical service and the engineering service, all which works to improve the quality and safety of the feed and in turn produce a quality food. So this is an area which actively participates.
KP might have some comments, especially on the aquaculture area, because I see this as a real growing area within the country.
Yeah, I think you have an exclusive president for aquaculture. You can also throw some light on it.
I was actually going to wait for some silence and then tell you about aqua. But thank you, Chris. Yes. It's quite interesting, actually. Kemin has been in aqua now, particularly in India, for almost 10 years. But it's always been part of our animal nutrition and health business. And more recently, about 3 years ago, in Asia Pacific, out of Singapore, we started focusing on aqua as well. Last year, Kemin made a very serious decision and identified aqua as one of our largest growth opportunities over the next 25 years. If you look at world statistics on aqua or on meat consumption generally, you'll find all other meats, be it chicken, pork, beef, mutton, are all almost plateauing, in some markets even dipping. Aqua is the only animal protein that's actually growing at 3% annually, global numbers I'm talking about. So there's this huge opportunity in aquaculture. And we took this decision, and in Kemin we realized that having it under a different business unit doesn't give it the focus and the energy that is required to be able to really support our customers. So a decision was taken to create a new business unit. And this business unit demerger started last year, and effective 1st January of this year, we have created this new business unit, which is a global business unit operating out of South Asia, Asia Pacific, the largest market China, EMENA, which is Europe, Middle East and North Africa, and Latin America, primarily Ecuador. So a little while ago there was a question about exports from this plant in Gumadipundi. Interestingly, one of the things we're looking at is exporting aqua products out of India, particularly into South America and Europe, and for Asia Pacific, because we've got some really good research that has developed new products. So what this new focus and the new business unit is going to do is to create specific products for the aquaculture industry. And this will benefit the farmers as well as the feed manufacturers who make aqua feed and grow shrimp and fish in different markets in the world.
Dr. Chris, today when we visited your operations, you were at Gumadipundi, and we were very happy to see the facilities you have established, and particularly 2 R&D farms you have poultry, which is a very nice thing, which I have not seen with many of the other, your competitive companies. And if that, if you can maintain it properly and perfect, I think that can really help the poultry farmers and to have a better production. Similar kind of thing, I also edit a magazine on aquaculture industry for over 25 years. And that industry is not much organized. And water quality and soil management is very poor conditions, the shrimp and fish farmers are facing. If Kemin can have similar like poultry, you have R&D farm, similar kind of thing, if you can establish for aquaculture, I think you can do good to the industry and to your country.
Let me turn to KP because he's done exactly that.
It's very interesting you should say that. And if you have the time, you should come and visit us in our Ambattur laboratory, where we've actually set up trial facilities for shrimp in our laboratory. So anytime, and I welcome any one of you, if you have the time, drop in at our Ambattur office. We've got a fabulous facility for aquaculture, shrimp trials. Interestingly, also, we have now tied up with universities and organizations, starting actually with the Tamil Nadu Fisheries University, the Kasastad University in Thailand, University of Ghent, and the university in Ecuador, also to do trials along with us in the area of shrimp and fish. So very much on our radar, Nazir, but thank you for that question. Very, very important part of our business.
What I was saying, please don't depend on these government agencies or universities. You have in your plant, like a farm, 2 R&D farms for poultry birds, for broilers.
Right.
Similar kind of, if Kemin has its own R&D, I think you can really do good to the industry and to your company.
So you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Now, I'll just explain to you why the universities are also used. And you know our customers, right? So we use our own R&D farms and laboratories, even the one in Gumadipundi as well as the one we have in Ambattur. A lot of that is done to do internal screening and development of products. When you take data to a customer likes to see an independent third-party data set. They think that if it comes out of a Kemin farm or a Kemin lab, they don't necessarily always give it 100% credibility. Not only Kemin, any company lab, they'll think, this is a... So if you give it to a third party, and all these are the top of the line universities, very well respected by our customers. So we do in our own labs, reconfirm it and validate it in third party laboratories. And that's the reason we tie up with universities. Thank you.
Our China research facility will have a fish research lab.
Also.
Yeah.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
I'm just reading about this Kemin Biologics.
Yes.
What is this?
Well, and Ramesh is actually heading up the Kemin Biologics, so you've asked at the right place. So, Ramesh?
So the Kemin Biologics is the vaccine business which we have initiated middle of last year. So here, currently this company Biologics is focused on PRRS vaccine for swine. Of course, not much swine in India, but rest of the world there's a significant swine population, and PRRS is one of the most significant disease that the swine herds are exposed to. So the technology is very unique. We took a stake in a company in the US which developed the technology, and we have exclusive sales marketing around the world with this technology. So we set up a company to take this vaccine to the market. Our long-term aim is to bring in poultry vaccines as well. We also have an investment in Egypt in a company which is the second largest vaccine company in Egypt. We are primarily focused in the Middle East market. So we have started small, and our next 5 to 10 years, very clearly this business is going to significantly contribute to our long-term growth in the animal nutrition and health. Because if you look at one of the significant challenges our farmers face is disease, and the first line of defense is vaccination. So this is our commitment to this industry from a long-term perspective.
I think that's an important overall strategic aim is that we've said that the immune system of the animal, what can we do to optimize the immune system? And so, of course, there's two types of immunity: innate immunity, which is that which is we have all the time, and then acquired immunity, which comes from a vaccine. So our product Alita, which is we made reference to that we will be expanding that product, which is a stimulant for innate immunity. We're going to be expanding that in India, and then now to be within the acquired immunity area, that's the vaccine and Kemin Biologics. So really working at both sides of the immune response within the animal.
Are you working for vaccines for shrimp and fish also? Do you have?
Yes, at this time we are, again, the way we are approaching this is we couldn't do everything ourselves. So we are collaborating with partners outside who are specifically focused on shrimp and fish vaccine. In case of poultry, we are again working with researchers who are developing that area, and we would primarily commercialize and own the technology and commercialize. Okay.
Can you please tell us more about the acquisitions or the collaborations that you are having or you are planning to have?
Yeah, maybe I could talk a little bit about our general acquisition strategy at Kemin. We say that of our growth, our objective is that 80% of our growth comes organically. In other words, from our own research and development areas. 20% of our growth should come from acquisitions. And so we look really, I would say on a worldwide basis, we look for possibilities of where we can acquire a company where perhaps the technology has been proven, maybe in a very limited geography, and that we can take that on a worldwide basis. A very good example is this acquisition which we made basically about 2 years ago of a company called Algal Scientifics out of Michigan in the United States. They were manufacturing a particular beta-1,3 glucan that was from algae that was very good at stimulation of the immune system. They had sold just a little within the United States and had not been able to sell anymore. We've acquired the company and now have started and introduced the product on a worldwide basis. As I said, we are now in the process of expanding the fermentation of this algae to here in India, and that will be the next phase. But it's a good indication of the types of acquisitions we like to make.
The newly just see the textile chemical, something new to the.
Yeah, textile chemistry is new and yet not new at all for us. Let me give you the example, and hopefully you saw the demonstration of blue jeans and what are those. One of the principal chemicals that is utilized in blue jeans is enzymes, and specifically cellulase. We've had actually work with cellulase for over 25 years, utilizing cellulase in animal feeds to increase the digestibility. If you utilize cellulase and you don't let the digestion go fully, you will end up in the effects that you saw in the blue jeans. If you let it go fully, then you come up with the holes that you see in blue jeans. But it is the same chemistry, basically, that we utilize in animal feeds. So this is very similar to what Kemin does, is we like to become experts in particular molecules and then get interested in all of the businesses that are using those molecules. So it was actually a very natural leap for us to go into the textile auxiliary business because that business is utilizing one of our core technologies. The other core technology that business utilizes is surfactants. We've been very, very large in surfactant chemistry, whether that has been in the animal feed business, both biological surfactants and surfactants used in feed milling. It turns out that some of those same surfactants are utilized in textile auxiliaries as well to be able to have various effects on textiles. So again, taking chemistry at a molecular level and then synergizing it across various businesses is certainly one of Kemin's long-term strategic aims.
What is the size of the investment have, in the, now, whatever you have launched today, the new project, the expansion project, we're not received any kind of press note to.
I know Suresh spent way too much money. I don't know if he can tell you exactly how much.
Yeah, it's almost close to 50 crores what we invested in the current, the new facility what we have come up.
India has been improving and ease of doing business. The ranking has improved since last few years. What is your perspective on that?
I'll let Suresh maybe make comments on that. At least, I will say from my aspect, I don't hear too many complaints coming back to the United States. So, but maybe Suresh has a different view.
Ease of doing business.
Ease of doing
What's our
business in India.
experience? What's our experience?
In fact, it's really good in India in the sense the way we do our business is not only the sales but the sales and service model. That's what we follow, and the sales team has always been supported by some 3-4 other service teams. Like we have a customer laboratory team, we have an engineering team, we have a technical team in the field, and apart from that, even sometimes if required, our research and development team also jumps in. And when we talk about the science to the customer and you can demonstrate the benefits to the customer, it becomes easy. Once the customer sees the ROI, I don't think that any issues there in terms of doing business.
So let me elaborate on that response, and I'll look at it from a slightly different perspective. Your question alluded to that as well. Since it's about 20 years we've operated in the country, we haven't faced any significant hurdle in starting business and doing business from a regulatory perspective or government. One of the reasons could be is that our industry is not really that well regulated, as well as it is not in the sights of the government decision-making bodies. We still fly under the radar in most of the cases. But having said that, we have had the necessary support from the government, local industry body, and we have not faced any major challenges so far.
Ramesh, when I was asking you this question about your position in the feed nutrition, like sometimes we get confused. You have biological products in poultry or animal industry, then you have medicines, chemicals, you have feed supplements, and there's this. How many can you make it into 2 segments or one segment?
So, at this, if I look at the animal nutrition, there are primarily 3 segments: therapeutics, biologics, and the feed additive business. Currently, Kemin participates only in the feed additive business. Okay. Biologics is a new entrance, new segment for us. We just started off last year. We have no intention at this time of getting into therapeutics, because we are encouraging our customers to, and the world over, the customers are moving away from use of antibiotics to non-use of antibiotics. So we see the long-term growth coming in the area of biologics and continued use of nutritional ingredients and health and safety ingredients.
That comes under feed additives.
That comes under feed additives.
In feed additives, what will be the, because we would like to mention, in our reporting, when publication comes, in feed additives segment in the world, what is the position of Kemin globally, like ranking?
So if we look at the overall market, if you look at therapeutics, feed additives, and biologics, it's 40% each in therapeutics and feed additives. This is the market size, and 20% is the biologics, 20 to 25%. Now, if you again specifically go into feed additives, the largest categories are vitamins and amino acids. We don't participate. We are not basic manufacturers of vitamins and amino acids. We do work on amino acids for the dairy area, which is the encapsulation. So that's a very different business segment. Then if you look at within the feed additives, there are specific categories where we participate in. For example, antimicrobials. We would be number 1 or number 2 in the world market. Okay. Because there are so many players, even if you have a 7 to 8% market share, it becomes very substantial. Antimicrobial, so feed safety. Biosurfactant, we are number one in the world. That we basically are pioneers in that category. Then if you look at intestinal health program, and there's a basket of programs that you look at from a intestinal health space. I think depending again on which segment we look at, we would range between the top 3 players, you would be in that category. Yeah. And then if you look at enzyme, we have become basic now in manufacturing enzyme. I'm not sure how many of you read the announcement early this month that we took a stake in a company, fermentation facility, manufacture of enzyme in China, a significant minority stake in the company. So that makes us basic in manufacturing enzyme. We have our own enzyme strains which we will produce. We also produce our own probiotics as well, which goes as part of the intestinal health. So in the intestinal health space, we are in the top 3 globally when you look at the total portfolio that we cover. Okay.
So in India, when we are talking about cattle feed, most of our cattle wearers, they depend on traditional feed ingredients. So how do you see your market in India, especially in cattle feed? Is it challenging to expand your wings in this space in India?
Cattle feed, to be frank, whatever we are producing is not to the extent the amount of feed what we are supposed to produce. It's been really challenging for the feed. It's not going the way we thought. Actually, the feed production specifically in the cattle feed. Many of our customers, they use some of the raw materials like oil cakes, and mostly they use on their own, especially with the backyard cattle, people having maybe 2 to 5 cows, and they're basically utilizing on their own whatever the raw material what they have on their own. So the industry is growing, I would say around 7 to 8%, which is much higher compared to the world average if you take. But for the amount of population what we have, at least we should have now producing close to 70 million metric ton of cattle feed. But today we are around 10 million metric ton of feed is what we are producing as a compound feed, if you ask me. So the growth is good in terms of, if you take world average, we are growing at 7 to 8%, but we are a long way to go in that.
Work on probiotics, are you also intend to work on prebiotics?
That is one of the plans, but not right at this moment. Yeah.
Right now, I think that when we've looked at the prebiotics that really have high efficacy, they need to be included in feed at 0.5 to 1% of the total feed. And every time we do the economics, remember we said that you're going to be able to earn 2 rupees for every rupee you give us. We can't find a return on investment for the prebiotics right now. Not economical today.
So Nazir, going back to your prior question earlier, so the other category which is very significant, you would have seen it while walking to the factories, are product application division. We operate in several liquid programs to our customers. In that category, which we would like to refer to as a Liquid Smart program, which is feed safety, feed efficiency, and forage treatment, and dairy forage becomes a very critical one. In that category, we are number 1 around the world for many years.
So it gave us a very good feeling when we visited your plant. Very clear it is. Every way it was taken care well. And
Thank you.
one last point, question I have for Chris.
Sure.
I think you have something special connection with India. India, because you have your group president, Mr. G.S. Ramesh, as a group president you have Samran Jaychandran, you have Philip, and then Suresh, Kumar.
Yeah.
How and the Kemin, all these people, like in your headquarters, 2, 3 people are from India.
Right.
How do you feel about it?
Extremely positive, obviously. No, my daughter is living here, and she lives in Bangalore. So, I think I look at it as sort of as a world opportunity, and regardless of what nationality and so on, it's a world opportunity in nutrition. And India remains very high on the list of places where I see that Kemin can make a real difference. And so there's no question that it has a very special place in my heart. And then we've been extremely fortunate to have some very highly qualified Indian managers, and we recognize great people. And so yes, they're at the table.
Thank you all for your valuable time. I just want to, there is some quick bite they want to take. Before that, I just want to summarize. Thank you, Chris, Ramesh sir, KP sir, and Suresh. And there are two things I want to talk. One is that general press is there. What is the significance of this actually? Suppose if we ask, so poultry and industry press, they know about what Kemin is doing and what we are doing, known for it. So general press actually, there are one point repeatedly Dr. Chris is communicating. Every 1 rupee investment, we are getting minimum 2 to 3 rupees of the return. Suppose any farmers actually the investing a rupee with Kemin, we will demonstrate the benefit that minimum of 2 to 3 rupees, minimum 2 rupees they are getting back. So that's a kind of significant, and we are also working with more than 30 veterinarians in our company to improve the quality of life. If you can see the Kemin vision in the book, actually, so we are saying touching more than half the population, and we are touching improving the quality of life. So our objective is whatever the job we are doing, it has to be connected to the industry, how to improve the quality of life with the people whoever we are working. That is the major objective Kemin is driving. Entire business is for the making the profitability, but profit is not alone to drive you into the business. How you can add value to the life of each and every people. So we are connecting our vision to improve the quality of life for all the people. That is going to be the primary things driving Kemin. So with this, I will just thank you for all the participation and come here for our meeting. And I request, I think, few bites you want to take. So final kind of things we can have. Thank you.